Hey guys, it's Derek, yours truly from the Nature Boys. Today we're going to do a little bit on hunting safety, especially with weapons, guns. This is a long barrel BB gun slash pellet. It takes two kinds of ammo, which is, of course your average BB, you know, and then it also takes your pellets too, which you can actually slide the pellets right up through here. I'll get a little bit closer so that way you'll actually see that. There's the pin right there, if you can see it. You gotta cock that back with that right here. Then you can actually slide your pellets in. It's also the same mechanism you use for your BBs, which they'll be lined up right in here. And that's what loads them up into the barrel right here. So that way, when you actually pull the trigger, you can actually release it. Right now, I do have the safety on, which is a must until you're ready to shoot. Other than that, keep the safety on, your finger off the trigger, which is right here. Right here, my hands are on the pump and the handle, aka the stock. And once you're actually ready to shoot, you aim it, put your finger right on the trigger like so, make sure the safety's off. Then pull the trigger when you're aiming. Make sure you have a good firm grip so it doesn't kick. Not that they really kick much. They hardly kick at all actually. But make sure you have a good firm grip so that way when you sight it, you actually have a good aim. And then when you're done, you actually make sure your fingers are off the trigger. Then you press a button right here, put the safety on, then make sure you're pointing it up or down. Make sure nobody's feet is in the way. Pull the trigger, make sure the safety's on, and when you actually feel that it is, you're safe. Make sure it's not loaded, so that way if anybody grabs it, you're in good hands still, because nobody can hit you with it. Other than that, this is what a long barrel rifle pellet BB gun looks like. This is actually relatively slow, so you're not going to actually get too terribly injured. You can actually use these for target practice and stuff like that, especially for younger kids. So that way they still have the fun, they're not in any real danger, and they can still get their target practice in for when it actually comes down to hunting season. They'll actually be good at honing in their sights and making sure they actually hit the target with as few shots as possible. The biggest ideal one would be hitting it with one bullet, just so that way you're saving ammo, and it'll be a little bit cheaper for you. The next one would be right here. This is an old school handle cock, where you can see you can put your hand right here. This actually pulls out, and you bring it back. That's how you actually get it pressurized, aka cock. And the trigger's right here, so that way, cock it, boom. It'll be a quick release shot. As you can see, it's same basic concept. But this is a wooden stock, but the pump is not here, it's right near your hand. So that way your hand is off the trigger, and when you actually, bring it back, you're holding onto the stock. That way you actually have to physically do that to make sure it puts your finger on the trigger. As you can see, it's a little bit bigger barrel, only because the BBs actually go right up in here. You can see the hole right near the line sight. So that way everything's good, and it actually travels right into the barrel. This is the rear sight. This is what you use to actually make sure you don't shoot high or low. This adjusts so that way if you're notice the barrel is up too high, you bring it forward to actually help lower it, and make sure you line this with this up here just to make sure you actually have a straight shot. Some of them do get banged up a little bit along the way, thus ruining the line sight. So that way when you're actually shooting, you're not getting true straight shot. That's where you actually have to learn how to compensate for your weapon. That way you actually get a consistent target every time, so that way, you know how your weapon shoots, so that way only you would know how to use it. But say that I went to hand it to somebody else, they have glasses or anything like that, or they shoot left-handed like I do. I shoot left-handed long barrel only because I can't close my left eye, only my right. So therefore, my sights would be a little different from somebody that shoots right-handed or has a different eyesight than me. Um, that's why very rarely would you ever let somebody else shoot your gun, only because then after you would have to go through and readjust your sights to your specifications. Um, Other than that, one of the best ways to actually hold a gun would not be like this. When you're traveling, hold it down, so that way when something goes off or you drop it, it drops straight down, and that way nobody's in line of sight. Where if you bring it like this, you drop it, it could kick the trigger. A bullet will go up in the air, and it'll actually travel for miles and hit somebody else, and you won't even know it. Best thing to do is hold it down like this, and make sure if you're traveling with somebody, make sure they're behind you, just so that way they're in a safe place, because your gun is in front of you. Aim down, so that way, say that you trip or anything, and you drop your gun by accident, your bullet's going to go off to the front of you, off to the side of you. Whoever's with you, your partner at the time, they'll be behind you. That way, when the bullet goes off, it's not going to hit them, cause them any injury. So that way, that's like your number one priority is safety with these. Even though these are non-lethal, they can become lethal quickly, depending on how much power you have in it. If it hits the right spot, they're done. Other than that, that's it for the long barrel safety. Up next is the short barrel BB guns. There are real life guns that actually use gunpowder and stuff like that, have more power to them. The smallest one would be a 22, which some BB guns can actually reach that velocity of a 22. Right now, I'll actually show you the BB gun, the small barrel. As far as guns, make sure they are locked up and safe. Some of them you do want to stand up like this right here, just so that way they're not liable to actually get anything out of the barrels or anything like that. Or have them laying on a gun rack, so that way they're not actually going to be damaged. As far as short barrel, this is a short barrel BB gun. Yes, it does look like a revolver. I mind you, it is not a real revolver. These also can be dangerous and anything like that. As you can see, all these have safety triggers and stuff. Like right here, you can see push for safety on. Come over here, push that. You hear that the hammer. This is the hammer right here. That actually hit there. And if you want to uncock it safely, do that. Make sure your thumb is firmly on the hammer right here. Pull the trigger and slowly release it, just so that way it doesn't go like that. And the last thing you want to do is actually look down the barrel of a gun. That would actually be one of the most dangerous things to do if you're going to look off to the side, so that way if the trigger goes off by accident, it's not going to get you. But if you're actually going to do anything, make sure the ammunition is out, the safety is on, and your finger is off the trigger. As you can see, I do have a round of ammunition in already, which my friend will actually show you how to shoot it, what it looks like, and he will be doing some target practice on a gourd, which is kind of like a pumpkin. And we will show you the effects of what it actually does and how to actually hone in on target practicing, which would be using your sights. There are different sights on different guns, like you see right here. It's a little bit different from the other guns that I had. This too is a pellet BB gun, more used for pellets actually. But these are actually fairly accurate. This travels at a little over 400 feet per second. I have a long barrel pellet gun that travels over 1,000, which is equivalent to a 22 bullet traveling. Which the pellets are a little less lethal, but they're still lethal. 22, since they have a higher grain, which means they're a bigger bullet, they're actually traveling much, at the same speed, but for its size, it's much more lethal, which means it can actually go into your chest cavity and, travel through a bone or into a bone, which can cause some severe damage. Other than that, that's it for the actual safety, and we'll show you how the short barrel works. Because I can tell my friend right now is getting cold. It's about 30 degrees out right now, and I'm going to try to shorten this up as much as possible so he doesn't freeze up. Other than that, I'll switch it off to my friend. He will show you how this shoots and show you some of the effects of what pellets and BBs can actually do. As of right now, I'm going to actually switch it over to him, and I hope you guys enjoy.
Hi. So whenever you're out hunting, you should probably you should always wear a safety vest. It's bright orange or yellow, so it's easy for other hunters to see you, so they don't shoot you, and so that it's safe for everybody. Now for pistols, you want to hold them, you always hold your gun down. If you have a holster on your hip, it goes like that. Whenever you're not shooting, you always have your finger above the trigger, or not on the trigger at all, like this. But you want to keep holding it like this, so in case it falls, it goes straight down, and if the trigger does pop, bullet goes straight into the ground, nobody gets hurt. You never point this towards anyone. So when you're shooting, for this, I cock back, I turn off the safety, I aim, and I fire. You keep missing. You don't want to get too close to your target, because the bullet might go and come back and hit you. You always want to aim and look where you're firing, so you're not going like, huh? And you hit somebody.
Like that metal post you just hit?
Yeah, so I just hit a metal post, which is no good. To get a more stable shot, you might want to go down on a knee.
Which we'll also talk about the positions in a minute.
Take a nice deep breath, and when you think you're out, turn on the safety, you open it up, you check if your clip's out. You never look down the barrel like this, for instance, to see if you still have ammo.
And that is what is also known as the break bar, right?
Yep, a break bar.
Yes, that was a bird that just screamed.
I thought it might be an eagle, so I don't want to shoot at that.
Yep. Never shoot at what you can't identify.
Yep. I like the break barrels, because when you're loading and you shoot, you can't shoot anything. It would just go.
Yep.
Nice easy reload. Never point at anyone when you're reloading either, because pointing at someone is stupid
And dangerous.
and dangerous. Now this is semi-automatic, so you can just go. But I prefer to cock back and shoot. You could even go, I'll turn the safety on for this first, like this, and rapid cock.
Yep, rapid fire.
But I injured myself trying that earlier.
Yep.
So I band-aided up. Now to finish off this round, in 2 positions.
Yep. This is known as the kneel position.
And the last.
That is the lay down position. And one other position is also known as the prone position, where you're actually sitting down. But laying down is one of the more stable positions where it's more accurate. But you also have a lower shot.
When you're out, you turn on the safety, take the clip out, hold the gun towards the ground. If you have a holster, you put it in the holster, and you walk away. I think that's about it. So we told you about everything. Just be safe. Always be safe. And don't forget to check us out on Facebook and our YouTube and everything. Even shoot us an email at themnatureboys@gmail.com. So we hope you have a nice and safe day.
We hope you don't take us literally by shooting.
Yeah, don't really shoot us.